and welcome to West Bloomfield 911. I'm Officer Rick, and on behalf of the men and women of the West Bloomfield Police Department, welcome to another show. We have a very interesting guest today. I think you'll find what she has to tell you very pertinent, especially for those of us here in Oakland County. And she is Julie Stitt. She is the volunteer coordinator for the Mentors Plus program. I know that's a whole mouthful, for the Oakland County Youth Assistance. Julie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, well, we're glad you're here now. We have a lot to talk about because I don't think a lot of people know what your program does. So we want to advise them. But we're going to highlight an officer in our, well, not an officer, in this case, a dispatcher in the police department. So don't run away.
Okay, thank you.
All right, folks, look on your screen and you will see the smiling face of Lindsay M. Goff. She's a dispatcher in the police department, so she's assigned to the Communications Bureau. Lindsay just hired in last year, November 20th of 2013, so she's only been here about 6 months. And but she is certainly a woman of service, as she has served our country and the United States Navy from 2002 to 2011. So for 9 years she served us in the Navy, and we want to thank Lindsay for that service to our country. And she continues to serve here in law enforcement. So Lindsay, thanks for all you do. And when I asked her favorite food, she must have been talking to my wife, because she said pasta. And you and my wife would get along, Lindsay. And when she said, asked her about a favorite movie, she said that 1986 movie with Tom Cruise and Tim Robbins. In fact, there was a whole slew of famous people in that, but they were two of the big ones. Top Gun, and I enjoyed that myself. So, you know what, Lindsay, you can go eat pasta with my wife, and then you and I can watch Top Gun together. And her favorite music isn't a particular group or a particular type, just popular music. She likes what's popular for the day. And about her accomplishments and hobbies, and boy, I've been having trouble saying that during these shows. She loves being a mom to her 9, 7, and 5-year-old kids, and the youngest is a girl. The other two are boys, so she's got her hands full being a mom, I can tell you that. And she loves supporting the kids in their activities, and the kids love to play sports. So, Lindsay, you sound like you're doing a wonderful job. Keep it up. And you're doing a good job here as well. Her favorite quote, "Everything happens for a reason." Now, I don't know if you know, Lindsay, but that is a contraction of a quote by the great Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who wrote, "Everything that happens, happens as it should, and if you observe carefully, you will find this to be so." So see, you're quoting a famous person. Maybe one day you'll be as famous as Marcus. In fact, after the show, you probably will be. Lindsay, thank you for everything you've done. Hope you have a long and illustrious career here in West Bloomfield. We're going to turn the corner spotlight off on Lindsay Goff, our dispatcher, and we're going to talk a little bit today about a safety tip. And we want to talk about safety tips for kids, keeping your kids safe in cyberspace, so parents, listen up. I always tell the kids when I talk to them that the www on the internet doesn't stand for World Wide Web. It stands for Wild Wild West, because out there it is like the Wild Wild West. It can both be dangerous and exciting, and there's really very few people out there looking after your children. So parents, you have to do that. Protect your children. Give them guidelines to follow. Establish a clear set of rules and guidelines for their computer use by your children. You know, if your children encounters threatening or obscene material on the internet, report it to the center's internet service provider immediately. Tell the police if they've received some sort of information or pictures that are illegal or threatening. Okay, we want to know about that. Tell them never to send a picture of themselves or another family member to anyone online without your approval, and to never send any private information, again, without your approval. And don't let them send their social security number or yours, your credit card number, etc. Tell them never to arrange to meet anyone they've met on the computer. Never have them meet them in public without your knowledge, without you going with them, and then meet in a public place. Until you're satisfied those folks can be trusted. Now, there's a whole bunch of things we can talk about, but I want to tell you about one more. Stress to your children that these rules are to be followed even when they are at school or a friend's house, and these rules apply no matter where they are. And I want you folks to remember that those little cell phones, they are little computers. In fact, they have more computer power in those new cell phones, the iPhones, than we had in the computers to put man on the moon. So you need to help them out. And remember, parents, the greatest tools that your kids have to protect them online are concerned and involved parents. And the greatest assets they possess are the values that you teach them. So those are some tips for parents to help their kids online. So folks, we will be right back with our guest, Julie Stitt from Oakland County Youth Assistance. Don't go away.
You're watching West Bloomfield 911 on Civic Center TV, a service of the Greater West Bloomfield Cable Communications Commission. For more information or to watch episodes on demand, visit civiccentertv.com/WB911. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home.
The West Bloomfield Police Foundation raises money to help those who protect and serve the community. Whether it's emotional or financial support, the foundation provides a helping hand to officers, their families, and those in the community. For more information on the West Bloomfield Police Foundation, contact Kurt Lawson at 248-975-8900 or visit wbpolicefoundation.org.
Hello and welcome again to West Bloomfield 911. We are with Julie Stitt. She is the volunteer coordinator for the Mentors Plus program with Oakland County Youth Assistance. Julie, once again, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
We're very glad to have you here today.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, well, you know what? I had never heard of your program, and so this is part of what we want to do today is get that information out until a mutual friend of ours, Michael Kaziak, mentioned that he thought you would be a great guest to have on the show. So I don't usually do what Mike likes, but in this case, he's absolutely right. Mike's a great guy.
He is a great guy.
Absolutely.
He helps a lot with our program.
Yeah, he's wonderful, and he and I have known each other for quite a few years. So, now, tell us what is the Mentors Plus program, because until he mentioned it to me, I didn't even know it existed.
The Mentors Plus program is a program of Oakland County Youth Assistance, and really what we do is we go into all the 26 Oakland County school districts, and we match mentors, adult volunteers who are willing to spend time with a young person who could use some extra support or guidance. And they make a commitment of a minimum of 1 year to meet once a week with that young person. And and then really what they do is become a good friend to them. And they're not trying to parent them, but they're doing things with them and sharing their values really with them, and supporting that young person in a variety of ways over the course of that year. And what they found out is that if they actually have a relationship for a year or more, it makes it can make a permanent impact on that young person. Whereas if you do something for just a couple of months or only see them occasionally, it might have a little influence, but it's not likely to have the impact that it does if you do it consistently.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, you said they have a relationship for a year. How often during that year does the program require that they meet with the young person?
The minimum requirement is 1 hour per week for a whole year. And we know people go on vacations, or the kids will go to camp or things like that. And so if they miss a week, though, we want them to make up that time. And in reality, most of our mentors meet with the kids 2 to 3 hours a week. Because an hour is not a long time to spend. So if you go in and you take them to do an activity or something, it's usually more than an hour. But that's the minimum. And we are, as long as people get in at least those 4 or 5 hours a month, we're good with that.
Now, how old are the kids that are being mentored?
They can be anything from 5 years old to 16 when they come into the program. Once they're in the program, they can remain until they are 18 and graduate from high school in the program. But let me just tell you, a lot of our mentors and mentees have built such strong relationships that now those kids are in their 20s and they're even having their own kids, and they've been through college and all this stuff, and they become really family members. And that doesn't happen all the time, but it happens quite a bit.
Really?
We just had last year we did at Cranbrook. we had a pizza party, and then we had mentors and matches come, and then we wandered around the museum, and we had invited some of the kids who were in their 20s to come back.
Okay.
And it was so much fun to hear, how it had impacted their lives,
Right.
to have that mentor, and they were still having a relationship with them. It's just great.
Well, that's good. Now,
Yeah.
now, obviously, nothing. I don't think anything negative could ever come out of something like this. It's all positive, and
Really
just a matter
is.
of degrees is how effective it is. How, what does a child have to be, or what standard do you use to say that this child needs a mentor? I mean, is it financial? Is it intellectual? Is it how their family life is? How do you determine if a child is in need of a mentor?
Well, they get referred to us from a variety of places. Sometimes parents will just call and say, I think my child needs a mentor. The school counselors very often will refer them to us. But everyone who comes into our program, unfortunately now, it didn't used to always be this way, but unfortunately we are limited by finances
Right.
to having it be only people who are on our caseloads in our local school districts. So if somebody calls and wants to be in the program, they get assessed by our local caseworker in one of the 26 districts, and then the caseworker determines whether or not they're appropriate for the program.
Okay.
Just a few things about the kids in the program. There are no financial guidelines whatsoever. Anyone is eligible for the
Okay.
program in terms of that. The majority of our kids, quite frankly, come from single-parent families, but not
Okay.
all of them by any means.
Sure.
And the kids may have, a variety of things going on. Some of them have been identified by the schools or, their medical doctor as being ADHD
Sure.
or things like that. Some of them have lost a parent or a close relative and are kind of grieving
Right.
and could use some extra support. It's really a wide variety of kinds of reasons for kids being in the program, and we kind of leave it up to the caseworkers to decide, who really delve in with the parents to
Okay.
what's going on in the family to see if it's appropriate. But sometimes it's a child who has a sibling who has special needs, and so that child just isn't getting much individual attention. There doesn't have to be anything seriously, quote unquote, wrong with
Right,
the
right.
child in order for them to be in the program. Being with that mentor on a regular basis is a wonderful opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, now you do assess the child to see where they're going to fit. A couple things I wanted to ask, so I guess we'll take the first one. And you said you're in the school districts. What if a child is going to a private school or a charter school or is being taught at home? Can they get in the program as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
The school district that they're located in, where they live, determines what caseworker deals with it.
Okay.
But yes, in fact, actually, we just brought a young person into the program, actually just a couple weeks ago, who's being homeschooled.
Oh, okay.
And we have kids in private schools. That doesn't matter.
Okay.
All that matters is where they live.
Okay.
And just, that brings up another thing, that we try to match the mentors with somebody who lives within 20 minutes driving time of them, so that they're not spending their time driving,
Right,
but
right.
rather spending their time
With the kid.
with the young person.
Good.
Yeah.
Now, do you now you assess the person that's going to be in the mentor program, the young person? How do you assess or decide whether an adult is qualified to be a mentor?
Actually, we run a criminal background check, a human service background check.
Now, what does that mean?
A criminal background check
Well, I
is
understand
obviously
that,
that
yeah.
one. A human service background check means, have they been accused of abusing anyone?
Oh, okay.
Of sexual abuse, physical abuse, that kind of thing. And
Hopefully, we
so
find
they-
that on the criminal background
Yes,
check as well.
yeah, you might,
Yeah.
but it is another check.
Right.
We also check people's driver's licenses
Okay.
to make sure that because they do go and pick up the young person at the house, and so we do that as well. We check to make sure they're not, haven't been driving
Suspended
under
or-
the influence
Right,
or
right.
that kind of thing. And then each mentor is given some training, and we have monthly orientations where we go over all the guidelines for the mentors, and then also we do about a couple-hour interview with each of the mentors,
Sure.
and we visit their homes to see what their homes are like. And so then and also we get references for them. Everyone has to submit at least 3 references,
Okay.
and we check every single one of them.
Very good.
If we do not get, a letter back from that person, the reference letter, then they can't be a mentor,
Right.
quite frankly. We've
Right.
got to have 3 good, solid references.
Well, good. You want to protect
so-
the kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And this program's been going on for 40 years. The
40
Mentors
years?
Plus
No
program has
kidding.
been going on for 40
Wow.
years. And we really haven't had any incidents with, mentors.
Well, that's a great track record.
It is a great track record.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, it's such a joy to see the mentors and matches together.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of one other thing, in terms of, who can volunteer, the mentor has to be over 18. And but in terms of like job or professional, training or that kind of thing, there's not really requirements.
Oh, okay.
We have everybody in the program from carpenters to engineers to, to social workers to retired school counselors to,
Just the gamut of
The gamut.
socioeconomic stratum
exactly.
there, right? Oh,
Yeah, and
good.
our oldest mentor is 83.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Wow.
and we do have some people in their 20s as well. So.
When this for students or young people in Oakland County, can a mentor come from outside Oakland County?
Yes.
For instance, a kid may be on a close to the Wayne County, Oakland County border, so that would be within 20 minutes if they live in Wayne County. So a mentor can be from outside the county.
Yes, I can.
Okay,
Yeah,
very good.
and we do have some. Who are
Well, now,
from outside.
do you also work with, there's a lot of great organizations, we're blessed that there are so many good organizations in this area. And you mentioned, like, for instance, if a child loses a kid, and I know that there's another organization that helps children who have lost a parent. Do you work with some of these other organizations as well to benefit Mentors Plus, or maybe even sometimes to benefit the other organization? Obviously the best help is when we both get benefits out of it. So do you work with other charitable groups?
Yes, I mean, in reality, we work primarily through our caseworkers when the kids have special needs or special projects, and we refer to all other kinds of agencies.
Okay.
We refer kids a lot, for extra help,
Sure.
grief groups or whatever is relevant for them, and we also supply both parents and mentors with information about that kind of thing. We actually do ongoing training with our mentors too. 4 or 5 times a year, we'll get just the mentors together and offer a training, and we may deal with anything from bullying to social emotional intelligence to gender differences. We pick a topic that our advisory committee, we have a mentors advisory committee with one person from each of the different 26 school districts, and they clue us into what they think the topic should be.
Excellent.
In fact, our next one is going to be on really how mentors can support kids in terms of having them not do risky behaviors,
Right.
anything from drugs to the internet,
Right.
whatever. And so we do ongoing training with those mentors as
Excellent.
well, and so that kids get the special extra help they need even over and above being mentored.
Well, it sounds like a great program. Do you also pair the young person with the mentor? Is it male on male, female on male?
Yes.
Or I mean female, female, male, male?
Almost always.
Okay.
That's our general rule. Occasionally, if it's a really young male who's maybe missing a female role model in his life, we might do that. We've
Okay.
done that, a couple times, but the majority of them are, same-sex matches.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed when I was looking at your background, you started out you have certificates as your social worker, certified prevention consultant. What does that mean, certified prevention consultant?
They have a state license and
Really?
state certified prevention consultant, and
Okay.
it's relatively recent. I mean, I guess it's been about 14 or 15 years ago, which is relatively
Yeah.
recent in terms of licenses.
Sure.
But anyhow, you have to go through. You have to meet a large number of qualifications and coursework and things like that. Excuse me.
You must be getting what I have.
Yeah, maybe so. But basically, I worked in the field of really substance abuse prevention for a long period of time, or really anything. I mean, I'm also a trained mediator, so I worked in schools helping kids become peer mediators and trying to prevent violence in the schools and stuff like that. So,
now, is that where you started out, working in the schools?
I have worked in the schools a considerable
because I see you have a teaching
amount.
certificate.
Yep. I did start out as a teacher, in fact, in the Detroit Public Schools at one point, and then, but I've done just a variety of things in the schools.
I was looking at that. Now, are you from Detroit originally?
No.
Okay.
I'm from everywhere.
You're from everywhere. Wow, that had to be interesting.
Well, I was born in Iowa, and I lived in Minnesota, I lived in Michigan,
You are
I lived
from
in
everywhere.
North Carolina, so
well, that's what I was wondering, because I saw you at your BA from the University of North Carolina, and you also have your master's from Wayne State. And I have to say, go Wayne State, because my son also graduated from there.
That's
so
great.
Yeah. But you have been from everywhere, and you've done many things. You have contributed articles to the Free Press, the Oakland Press, and Michigan Prevention Association's newsletter for 8 years. So is your basic interest always been in helping young people?
Pretty much.
Throughout your career?
Yeah. I mean, that's where I'm most
That's where your
comfortable.
heart
That's
is.
where my heart is.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, if we can make a difference with young people, and to me, I mean, this is a prevention program. Mentoring is a prevention program. It keeps young people from veering away from a healthy path.
Right.
And really, that's what I've spent my career trying to do, is to help kids, you know, gain the skills they need to feel good about themselves and to do positive things in our communities.
Well, God bless you for that, because kids need all the help they can get.
Well, and let me just mention real quickly, we do community service with the Mentors and Matches. We do a lot of community, we go to community things, like we go to plays in schools, we go to Pistons games. We try to get free tickets, so the Mentors and Matches have fun things to do together and stuff, and the community has been wonderful in terms of supporting us. And doing many activities, and we try and have group activities fairly often. We're all going to the 4-H fair.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good. Yeah, I've never been to that.
It's really fun.
Yeah, I'll bet. Where is that being held at?
Davison, Michigan, and you know, and they've got the whole ride thing and the food.
Excellent.
But they also have things like the newborn animal barn, where you can see all the baby animals. And last year, you know, they had the kids making birdhouses and all kinds of things out of wood. One of the, you know, Home Depot or Lowe's came and contributed, and so they have lots of fun activities there.
Well, you know, especially if a kid's a city kid. I was talking to a friend of mine who belongs to another very wonderful group, and they take these horses to different places, but like they said, some of these kids have never seen a horse. To me, that seems a bit odd, but if they've been, you know, just in their own little area, maybe they've never seen some of these animals coming into the world and such, so that'd be a big thrill for them. You know? Now, how long have you worked for Oakland County Youth Assistance?
I've really been working with Mentors Plus for a couple of years, but when I was in the 90s, I volunteered on their camp committee.
Did you
volunteered. I've had connections with youth assistants for a long time, and always knew that their program was really helping kids. And so, you know, as I said, volunteered myself. I was on the parent ed committee for the whole county. You know, and as a part of youth assistance, they do parenting classes in every school district a few times a year, and sometimes it's a one-shot deal. Sometimes it's a series of classes for parents to really come and learn how to more effectively support their kids.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now, a little bit, we had talked off camera. Some of what you do is very similar to what was it, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. What is the main difference is that this is for Oakland County people. So we are focused in our area of the world here, and we're trying to make life better for parents, their children, for those of us who, you know, live and work in this area here. Is that correct?
That's correct. And the biggest challenge is finding adults to volunteer, to be willing to spend, to make a commitment to supporting a child for a year is the hardest part. And but just so you know, everybody who's in this program is volunteer. In other words, we don't make any kids be in this program. They're only in it if they choose to be in it. The parents as well. And we try to get cooperation from, you know, the parents, the kids, and anybody who has a say in that child's life. We check with them before we start having them mentored to
Sure.
make sure that everybody's on board, that this is a good idea.
Well, now you've been doing it for a while, and whether you've worked for Mentors Plus or as a volunteer, can you give us maybe one or two particular highlights? Like you mentioned, the kids coming when they're 20s and saying, "Hey, I'm now part of this family." What are some of the things some of the kids have told you that this is how it's changed their lives?
Oh, I mean, they've said, that I feel like I would have gone in a negative direction if it hadn't been for my mentor, and being able to talk to my mentor and work through things, some of the things I've experienced, in life with my mentor. And on a regular basis, I hear, because the mentors check with me if there's a special issue or a special need. And so I hear about kids, we had some kids, quite frankly, we had some kids that were at a school, weren't doing anything illegal, but they were eating cinnamon. And it was like a contest to see if you could eat this tablespoon of cinnamon. Well, they're breathing in this fine powder and stuff like that. So when we found out that was happening, we contacted the caseworker and the school counselors and stuff like that. So, they did a whole program, I think, for the school to have the kids understand, hey, that's not really a funny thing to do.
Right.
It can be dangerous.
Right. Now, Julie, we only have another minute.
Oh, okay.
So tell me, or don't tell me, but tell the folks out there, what is it you would like to tell them about Mentors Plus? Give them a phone number, a website. Tell them what you'd like to know about Mentors Plus in about a minute.
Okay. Mentors Plus is a wonderful program. You've got to be willing to make that year commitment. You can reach Mentors Plus at 248-858-0045, and I think we'll probably get that information up in writing as well. Okay. And it is fun and it is rewarding. Our mentors thoroughly enjoy their relationships with the kids, and the kids enjoy their time with them. We send out a monthly newsletter that gives you ideas to do with the kids, and I'll tell you, you want to do something worthwhile that makes a difference in your community.
This is it.
This is it.
Give that number one more time.
248-858-0045.
Thank you, Julie. That's wonderful. Now, we would like to honor a fallen officer, so don't go away. Folks, if you please, look on the screen and see Special Agent Joseph M. Peters, and I'd like you to keep him in your thoughts and in your prayers. He's with the United States Army Criminal Investigation Division. He was killed in the line of duty on October 6, 2013. Special Agent Peters was killed by an IED, improvised explosive device, while accompanying soldiers during combat operations in Kandahar province and Afghanistan. So he was there helping us fight the war on terror. 3 soldiers as well were killed in that explosion. Special Agent Peters had served with the U.S. Army for 6 years. He was assigned to the 286th Military Police Detachment, the 5th Military Police Battalion in Vicenza, Italy. He is survived by his wife and 20-month-old son, who will never get to know his father. He was posthumously awarded the Combat Action Badge, the Bronze Star Medal, and the Purple Heart. So if you would, please remember this brave American hero in your thoughts and in your prayers, Special Agent Joseph M. Peters of the U.S. Army CID. Keep him, his colleagues in the Army CID, as well as all those soldiers who died, and keep them in your thoughts and your prayers, and remember his family, his wife, and his child as well. And we say, goodbye, brother. Your memory will never be forgotten. We'd like to thank Julie Stitt for coming on the show. She is the volunteer coordinator for Mentors Plus program. Julie, thank you again for coming on.
Thank you.
Appreciate all you offer to the community and all you do. She works with Oakland County Youth Assistance, and remember, folks, come on out and volunteer, help those kids. We have a lot of kids that could use your help. Thank you again for watching West Bloomfield 911. On behalf of Chief Mike Patton, the men and women of the West Bloomfield Police Department, we thank you for watching the show. Please, folks, take care of each other, be good to one another. Tomorrow is promised to no one. I'm Officer Rick, and we'll see you again on West Bloomfield 911.